Yeah, respect guys, your boy FONZi representing BattleOnline.com. Definitely want to say peace to everybody out there. Hope everybody's had a great week thus far. Unfortunately, some sad news in the media has just broken. It's been reported that Jerry Springer has died at the age of 79. Mostly famous for the Jerry Springer show, he was a politician turned into a presenter, and people know that his show was known for its outrageous, loudry, just outlandish style. He definitely was instrumental. I personally think in changing a lot of the element of how daytime TV was, especially when it comes to like talk shows and stuff like that. So definitely a big loss that a lot of people are gonna be speaking about in the entertainment world and stuff as well. Join with the homie Flas Angeles, aka Flossmo. What say you know?
Man, it's a sad day, brother. Sad day. I know y'all can't see me from all the smoke, man. You have to blow one in the air for Jerry. Jerry Springer was a person who we love, no matter of what social status that you claim. If you was up here, or if you was here, or you was down here. At first I used to be mad at Jerry. At first, when the show first came out, because I used to see black people on there acting ignorant, but what I come to find out, what I loved about Jerry, he was the Rainbow Coalition, because he made everybody that's out there that was ignorant be on some ignorant shit. He gave them a platform, and at the same time, it was very entertaining. And at one time, if you wanted to beat somebody ass that was irritating to you, and you really couldn't put your hands on them because you like 9 times out of 10 you was gonna go to jail, all that, you just go and call up Jerry Springer and get on the Jerry Springer show, and he'll let you beat the entire brake pads off your op. You feel what I'm talking about? So, big up to Jerry Springer, man. And besides, all the laughs and jokes and all that, Jerry Springer was an earner. Jerry Springer worked. That's one thing that Jerry Springer continuously did, was work. And then the Jerry Springer show went into syndication, and it seemed like it got bigger, to where they had to change the guidelines on Jerry Springer's show, because you was really getting a brake pass beat off your ass up there on on the Jerry Springer show. You was getting brake pads beat off, but Jerry Springer was an earner, and he was a worker, even to his last days. I was like, damn, I thought it would probably be over with Jerry Springer as far as like the shows and his creativity and his last shows where he was a judge. You know what I'm saying? So rest in peace, man. It's a sad day for entertainment, because Jerry Springer, I don't know if he has a star in the Walk of Fame, but I think that Jerry Springer should get a star in the Walk of Fame.
Well, I mean, his show, it definitely reached a huge mass amount of people. Aired for 27 seasons and doing nearly 5,000 episodes from 1991 all the way up to 2018. There was also a UK version of the show made in 1999, and it's had its wide range of, I guess, I don't want to say spin-offs, but people doing similar type shows. I personally think, even like Maury kind of changed some of his style a bit after. You had Jeremy Kyle in the UK. You had all sorts of different like presenters that I feel a lot of their style.
Sally, Jesse, Raphael stuff.
We can look at it in one aspect, but he was heavily criticized for what people feel was like an exploitative nature within the show. Like I know you mentioned there being ignorant people out there of all kind of races and creeds, because I think people thought there was like the hillbillies or white trash and that, and just different type of people out there, just kind of
the super good people, the people that were super
settling the issues that way. Now, it did come under fire with obviously people criticizing, saying, is that worthy for screen time? We're seeing people air out there, their sort of grievances like that. But we know that as you said, especially when it comes to, I think, Americans, I think Jerry Springer was like a huge shift for I guess other people around the world, like really watching that show. And I'm not saying everything on there was true, but seeing like some of the depictions and thinking like, wow, people are crazy out there in America.
Right, people are crazy out there in America, and he definitely exposed it. Jerry exposed it. I loved him because he wasn't biased. Like I said, he exposed everybody from every color and creed. If you have issues, social issues, a lot of these people in the world, they have the same issues that the average American or average person in the UK or around the globe has. It's just he had magnified it, and at the same time, it was funny. Not only the reason why I love Jerry because Jerry wasn't biased. Like I said, you will see Jerry on the Wayans brothers. Big up to Queen's Flip out there in New York City with his podcast and his platform. I seen Queen's Flip on the set of Jerry Springer. You know what I'm saying? His new show he had as a judge and all that. So he was definitely a person that wasn't biased. They say the people like the Jews and the people who run the industry and all that they are is sometimes it is some biasness going on, but Jerry Springer was definitely not one of those people, and he was down to earth and he was a good person, and he left his mark on this world, and everybody I'm sure that as watched the Jerry Springer show, been on the Jerry Springer show, people who have did spinoffs for the Jerry Springer show, like Big Steve, you know what I'm saying? Steve, the security guard, I know they all feeling it right now. So rest in peace to Jerry Springer, man. He's a good dude, man. Real talk.
Yeah, I think there's definitely no taking away from his accomplishments within the entertainment industry. Some say his style was done to sort of purposely arouse the elite or to just sort of point out some of the things that are happening, in the world and stuff. I mean, who knows? I mean, I think he's always going to be polarizing, especially just in the aspect of, some people are going to be for him, some people are going to be against him. I think ultimately he was celebrated, I guess, by people, but I think like in the world that we live in, it's sort of like especially within the media, he will get a lot of flack because he presented the show, but was he just identifying stuff that was actually happening? Or you got people going to say, well, if we didn't see it, it wouldn't become a thing. And then, is he reinforcing stereotypes and perpetuating a certain type of mindset and behavior? Some say, oh, well, that's too much conspiracy or too much conjecture and stuff. But I feel as though I remember I seen the Steve Harvey show. He did a nice little cameo on the Steve Harvey show, but he seemed like somebody that wasn't afraid to like poke fun at himself and stuff as well, which was good. So he didn't seem like he took himself too seriously amidst like everything else. And you mentioned Steve that was his security guard. He had that spin-off show. Steve. Everybody used to know what time it was when he jumped on the stage, and it became kind
Right.
of, as you said, with from an entertainment value aspect, but it is entertainment, so don't want to get too socio-political. And but his work is definitely high work in the industry and stuff, and people did go on to try and replicate it in a lot of different ways. But I think there'll only really be one Jerry Springer.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. It's only one Jerry Springer show, and like I said, he exposed uh, America in a way that I'm sure some people didn't like the way that it was looking, but it is what it is. And he exposed everybody, and he put everybody's community out there, from the black community to the white community to the Asian to the alphabet community. You know what I mean? He had everybody on there, transsexuals, everybody, gay people, everybody fighting it. It was like a circus that you couldn't wait to tune into to actually see. Amari Povich. I go back to like the Sally Jesse Raphaels, the Ricky Lakes, the even I was on the Richard Bay show. You know what I'm saying? Back in the day, my mother had me on the Richard Bay show, the hippest moms. I was like, "Mom, you about to ruin my career, like on some real shit." You know what I mean? But Richard Bay, he was similar to a Jerry Springer. No shade or shade thrown or taken away from anybody's accolades or anything like that. But there will only be one Jerry Springer show. Real talk. You know what I
Well, I
mean? This
mean,
man put in a lot of work.
what you say, you just brought back some memories of some stuff like in terms of the content, and I mean, it's kind of it just made me think a couple of things. One of the points was, now we did hear over the years some people say that some of these shows are staged or not everybody is out, and we know with television to a degree, I don't have the actual facts on his show, But I know in a lot of shows, even shows that we've been part of in terms of production and stuff. I'm not gonna
Oh yeah.
mention any names because you're not allowed to and stuff. But there is a degree of like acting and those kind of elements. But another point that you made, what I thought was quite interesting, because when we think of like the Jerry Springer show and stuff back in the days, and people make light of it in different ways, where it would be like only on a show like that could you see like a title of girl sleeps with guy who used to be girl who used to be cousin's sister with best friend, like some crazy.
Right.
But that's kind of the just normal in the world that we live in
It
now,
really
which
goes
which
on.
is
It's really going on in the world. Like
which is a,
it's really going on. You know what was amazing to me about Jerry Springer that I'm sure nobody else will bring up. I'm sure it's gonna go up. Everybody's gonna be talking about it. But what was so amazing to me about Jerry Springer was out of all of those shows, he did a bunch of shows, and he would always have something to say positive at the end of these shows. The last the recap. You know what I'm saying, of the whole shows, out of I think like 10,000 shows,
yeah,
five. I don't know how many shows.
Jerry's fault, his final thoughts or Jerry's thoughts or
Yeah, his
something.
final thought. He always had something different to say. That is amazing to be able to that lets you know that he was in tune with each and every show. You know what I'm saying? Most people, all right, I see y'all later. Thanks for coming out, y'all. All that, he wasn't even on that. He had a thought for every single topic of his show. You know what I mean? No matter how ignorant he was, because he knew that the critics was coming. He knew they was gonna come and try to bash his show. But
He was a former politician, so he an intellectual guy. So I think within that he kind of was, that was his part of giving the and I believe he was a Jewish man of faith and stuff as well. So that probably his part of balancing out the polarity in the sense of, okay, we could be putting out all this sort of negative stuff, so I've got to balance it out with
with something positive.
a summary at the end to get a kind of a button. And because we can only, I guess, assume on his political agenda or affiliation and stuff, but obviously if you come from a political background, he probably had some form of a political standing and message underlying within his show.
He was a decent person. He was a decent man. He was just showing the ills of the world, the things that go on in the world that I'm sure a lot of Americans wanted to hide and sweep under the table and didn't want to see, these degenerates and and all of these crazy people on there. But it was very entertaining. And like I said, he put in his work. You can't take nothing away from the man. He never was out there talking negative or nothing like that. You know what I mean? And he kept us entertaining. I remember, I think, shit, I was in Atlanta. They used to be out. This when they was really fighting. This was when they was really brawling, like 97, 96. You know what I'm saying? You got to realize Jerry Springer been on shit since we was in high school. You know what I'm saying? So you can't take nothing. Can't take nothing away from the man. You know what I mean? He's definitely and some people would say not, but I would say that Jerry Springer is a role model when it comes to entertainment, because you can imagine if okay, I used to watch the Jerry Springer show. I don't watch it no more. You know what I'm saying? I don't watch it. And 10 years go by and you come back and you're like, okay, I'm back on the TV. I'm back and he's still there. So that lets you know longevity, man. That's what it's all about. Look at all other shows that came and fell to the wayside besides Jerry Springer. You know what I'm saying? It was basically him and Maury. You know what I mean? And everybody loved Maury. I used to be in New York and these was, yo, word of mother, I love Maury. Yo, I love Maury and all that. It's just funny. You know what I mean? But big up and rest in peace to Jerry Springer, man.
Yeah, definitely a polarizing character. I mean, what do you guys think? Let us know in the comments. Were you big fans of Jerry Springer? If not, keep it respectful. There's stuff that you could probably say, but we won't, speak untoward or ill of the recently deceased or the deceased period. It don't serve to do anything as such. I do want to say that when we're thinking the entertainment game, as you said, there's a lot of people who have pioneered, paved the way in different ways, and been on the, been got their props. I'm trying to find a segue now to go into a story that I came across in regards to Suge Knight and Death Row, and I
Death
guess
Row.
he feels that Death Row was taken away from him due to some unfair kind of litigation, and this is something that was on TMZ.com, and Suge, he spoke about Snoop Dogg and Harry O and some of that deal, but he made some points which are quite interesting, kind of questioning the ownership of Death Row Records. Let me see if I can check this out.
Favorite album on Death Row? The murder was case was, the murder was case story was, like I said, I don't want to give all away because a lot of stuff in the series, but at the same time, we was going to do a song called, we went to go see a movie called Natural Born Killer. They wanted me to do a song on there. So when it was time for me to do that song, I said, well, I got to put the other people on the Death Row family on there also. They said, no, we only want one song. So I told Jimmy, I told everybody, I said, hey, well, I can't participate in this because if they can't take everybody, they can't do it at all. I said, what you going to do? I said, I'm going to do my own soundtrack. They said, but you don't got a movie coming. I said, we're going to do our own movie. So I went back, grabbed Snoop, I grabbed everybody. I said, Michael Jackson did a long video. It was like a movie like Thriller. Snoop, you look like Michael Jackson. Shit, you start like Michael Jackson. We're going to do feel that around you, that you take a picture by my 6'1" Chevy at my favorite spot to listen.
Hold up. I don't even think that is the right clip. That shit talking about murder was a case or something. Now, he talking about Snoop Dogg and questioning his ownership with Death Row Records. I mean, I guess I bring it up because a lot of times people are we only hear the negative on Suge. And when you think of Death Row, he was saying this label is synonymous with him, and I'm gonna see if I still find the clip where he's speaking on it. Can he say when you hear a Death Row, you hear Suge Knight? Ultimately he was saying that they kind of did him a legal disservice and kind of stole his company from him and sold it under the rug, if that makes sense, and kind of pulled the rug from under his feet and sold his company. So I mean, I'm gonna see if I load the clip up. But do you think she'll get too much of a bad rap as opposed to people focusing on some of the first that he actually did and brought into the hip hop game?
First of all, off top, number one, big up to that nigga Suge Knight. I love Suge Knight. And Suge Knight was gonna sign me to Death Row too at one time. You Scargis, you Scargis nephew, you Scargis cousin, I remember. You know what I'm saying? I used to see Suge all the time. Big up to Suge Knight. What I think is, don't no man want to see something that he built from bars. It hurts. I think it's a lot of ways that Suge Knight could look at this, and Suge Knight can handle this at the same time. Number one, he should be glad that Snoop didn't let the name die. The name will never die. The only way that the name will die if it's nothing. We could talk about Death Row's greats. Of course, it built an era, but to be able to continue the label, have new people like the Sugar Freeze, and that's why I heard Sugar Freeze on the Death Row. It's a lot of new artists. It has the name. Everybody knows Bad Boy. Everybody knows Rap a Lot. Everybody knows Death Row. Everybody knows these names. Suge Knight could have run. I said this. Suge Knight or Tupac at one time.
Would you not say that's because of Suge though? When everybody say everybody
Of
knows.
course, it's because of Suge. Suge built it. He built it, but he also killed it at the same time. You feel me? So go ahead.
Yeah, no, because I know we could, I want to try and put so we can get it in the right context of because this clip he kind of answers to some of that stuff in the aspect of I guess saying that he feels some shady stuff was done in terms of him losing the company. So let's just check out a bit of this.
Already, if they got Kim Cent, they was popping champagne bottles. See, when I first got in this business, people was only getting 5% airtime on the radio. If they got 10%, they was popping champagne bottles. I was the first person to hit the radio like it was an R&B act or a pop act, and I went from 95% to 97%. At one time, 97% of the stuff you heard on the radio was either on death row or somebody that was managing. I was the first one ever knew to own my masters. I'm the first one ever got people out their contract.
But how do you feel about?
So hold on, I just want to pause that there. And this is courtesy of TMZ, and it's definitely been well documented that Suge did do a lot to help people out of their contracts and stuff. And we hear a lot of people talking about their masters and stuff now. So this is like early work he was doing, but we'll get back to the bit of this clip.
Snoop owning it now.
And you see, how do you feel about?
How do you feel about Snoop owning it now?
Well, I don't know. If he do, I doubt that. But if he did, it'll be a situation. Well, first of all, you got to look at it like this. I'm quite sure everything. I am death row. Suge Knight is death row. So I'm quite sure before it's said and done, all eyes on me and Machiavelli out of pockets of definitely come back to me. And the rest of the stuff. But one problem with that is that Snoop has a partner, which is Michael Harris, correct?
Correct.
Right. If you look at it, they committed fraud. They committed bankruptcy fraud. I didn't lose my company by doing anything wrong. They went in and a lawyer didn't show up, and they got a default judgment. I settled the judgment. They turned around and said I didn't settle the judgment, but they committed bankruptcy fraud, which we just found out for sure last week. When they filed bankruptcy in '95, they said it had nothing to do with death row or anything, and the lawyer did also, and their lawyers knew. And you can't commit bankruptcy fraud and settle and do those type of things. So the same guy you see in the series, when you see all of his deposition in prison, her deposition when they said and the lawyers knew this, they filed bankruptcy and they had a right to do it, and they settled. You can't turn around and do it. It's called illegal. It's a crime. So you can't take a person who committed the worst crime of the century to take death row from black people trying to give it to white people and think he's going to turn around and reward and say he's going to grab Snoop and they're going to go get it back and have death row. It don't work like that. So if we're gonna talk about something, let's talk about
it. So you hear that straight from the. I wanted to play that straight from the horse's mouth. You hear Big Simon himself. You know what I mean? And I think just what he was just saying. I don't know the full implications of what he was saying to Michael Harris, obviously committing some kind of fraud and some kind of egregious actions towards Silky, towards Suge in his words, but I feel as though what he said was important about them trying to take the company from him and give it to like other people and just
what I heard was that Suge had lost death row, and so he had to sell it. Some white lady owned it. And then Snoop and them got at her, and then they got it. First of all, I mean, the man did build it. He did build it. But what I'm saying is, right now, Suge, you done. You was about to, I don't know if he's going to get out. I hope he get out. But what it looks like from as it stands, that it's going to be a while before he's get out. You know what I'm saying? So what? You going to let the shit die? I think that to equal all this shit out is everybody do the right thing. Put the egos aside. This man built this Snoop. Harry O, you a part of it. You got out of jail. You know how it is to be in jail. You just came from there. You know how it is. Suge, let that fame, success, and all that shit get to his head. But what I will say is that at one time, Suge Knight, the way he was doing business was necessary. It was very necessary. It's because people fear will make a person jump up and do something that they know they should be doing, but they don't care to do so. So Suge Knight's tactics were necessary at one time. Did he go overboard? The Love Boat? Yeah, he did. He let the success get to him? Yeah, he did. He let that money get to him? Yeah, he did. Anybody, that could happen to anybody. You know what I'm saying? He did go overboard. He paid the repercussions of it. But as far as right now, with Death Row, we know what Death Row did in the past. What about Death Row right now? What is Death Row doing right now? So I guess that's what Snoop and them are doing. Instead of let the shit die and nobody's coming out up under it, it's too many bomb. It's stopping us not having a West Coast label, a black-owned label, is stopping our movement. Real talk. It's stopping our movement because we really don't trust the white labels. Keep it on it. You know what I'm saying? Because we seeing what they've been doing to us for years. I'm an artist, so I can speak from it. You know what I mean? But what I'm saying is somebody gotta, or some people have to sit down and talk like men, put the ego to the side, sit down and really talk business. Everybody be fair. Let's get this bitch jumping and pumping. Because if not, all it's doing is stagnating. All this artists, we getting old. You understand? It's cool. You can get all the young artists, but the young artists may not understand the movement of Death Row and what we trying to do. You feel me? So,
I mean, it's definitely a different time. I mean, I think just to echo Suge in a lot of ways, I think some of the good stuff that he's done, like in terms of how people out with deals and some of his knowledge of the business, maybe there's polarizing views on his application of it and how he went and his approach and how he went about doing some stuff, but he definitely opened up some doors in that. I mean, speaking of like older artists, there's been an interesting story that's been making the rounds. I don't know if it's caught your attention, but Pras Michelle, I believe it's pronounced, or Praswell, formerly of the Fugees. Now, a couple of weeks ago, I saw a story that was saying Leonardo DiCaprio was testifying for the prosecution at a trial of Fuji rapper Pras, and I was like, weird story because seeing those kind of names associated together. But they say that Leo wasn't under any kind of suspicion of anything, but that he testified to a grand jury that was heading up Pras's indictment, which is accusing Pras of facing charges in the U.S. for some finance conspiracy with a Malaysian businessman who allegedly stole billions of dollars from a Malaysian sovereignty wealth fund, and he had been, dispersing it, I guess, in the entertainment field or around certain different people. Now, as of today, where we're picking up, it's being reported that Pras has actually been found guilty of illegal lobbying. There's been reports online saying that he was an FBI informant somewhat for over 20-something years. So this is kind of an interesting one. I guess it's rocked a lot of people. We've seen celebrities and different people chime in. Notably, even with Death Row, he's got David Kenner, famous.
That's what I saw. I didn't care about nothing else. Well, all I see is the picture with David Kenner in the background. That's when I was like, oh shit, it's about to get deep. So I'm sure Pras was like, I'm sure the Fuji money ain't up like that no more. You feel what I'm saying? So are you trying to go get it? And they from that descent, the Nigerians and them Africans and Nigerians, they go get it. They I love you. What is your bank account routing number?
Well, I mean, we're talking Malaysian. We ain't even talking, Africans. I mean, the biggest first is I don't want to, point out any nations because they'll probably pull me up. But
I'm talking about Pras. Pras. They all come from that. The Haitian, African.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of he from Haiti, but in that same stretch, we all kind of African in that kind of league, probably 1 or 2 degrees off. But so yeah, I know they Haitians, but I wouldn't put them in the they ain't ACOT. Yeah, ACOT.
Hey, they say when they had that big earthquake out there in Haiti, and they big people, big Jay-Z and all the people was giving millions of dollars out to the Haiti. They say Haiti still look the same way. I wonder who got the money. They say Wyclef. They say that Wyclef is something else. Big up to the homeboy, my homeboy Money Harm out there that was on that song Maria Maria. You know what I'm saying? That sing the song Maria Maria. Man, they was looking for Wyclef. They wanted to bust Wyclef whole head open because he didn't got their money. So, I ain't putting nothing out there, but them Haitians and them Africans, they something that they what is your bank account routing number?
Yeah, I think
I'm
I
just saying.
remember something happening around the time with not Pras, but Wyclif's name being definitely involved or implicated in something. Now the thing is, I don't think it was anything that was necessarily substantiated, but yeah, there was definitely something with his name.
I mean, why they say Wyclef kind of slick? I seen him one time in Hollywood with what's my man Steven Seagal. I seen him out there in Hollywood with Steven Seagal. I was like, I don't trust him. Now that I seen him out there with Steven Seagal, I was like, I don't trust him.
Well, I mean, you can't play with Clef, man, and I mean, you mentioned even the Haitian diaspora. Like, I think the Haitians, they some of the most powerful people on a different aspect, especially when we're coming from a like.
They go get it, man. No disrespect to the Haitians. No disrespect to the Haitians and the Nigerians or nothing. I'm just saying. I'm just playing.
They spirit strong, man. They led the Haitian Revolution, and they one of the first real nations that led heavy revolt against colonizers and stuff, and definitely brought into colonial powers and stuff, and to this day, that's why they still in a stitch when it comes to like hoodoo and voodoo and things of that nature, because the powers that those people were able to harness and tap into, but utilize on a different aspect was but I mean, long far of people from those days, as you said, if we're looking at now, especially the industry, we're talking like coercion and people getting involved with, criminal organizations and different types. You mentioned Steven Seagal, in a joking manner. Some people have said, while documenting Steven Seagal's dealings with Vladimir Putin and the Russians, so politics and entertainment on a serious note do go hand in hand, because this is the world that we're living in. I know we all could look at, just these celebrities and the gossip and all that stuff was happening. But a lot of the times these are huge things that have implications on people's lives on a day-to-day basis. And especially when we're talking mismanagement of funds and embezzlement and stuff on a global scale, it's definitely a shocking thing to hear of. Now, we do know that there's some of these businessmen that financed a lot of Hollywood films. So maybe that's where Leonardo DiCaprio's name has kind of come into it, because he can attest to seeing people in certain circles. Not to speculate with Pras, I do remember there was a period where he was heavily involved with I guess a lot of independent movies and stuff like that. And but so it'll be interesting to see how this one unfolds. We do know that David Kenner reportedly said that he was unhappy with the verdict and does hope that there will be, some the kind of case to be dismissed or looked at again. So I guess that
all jokes aside on Pras, I'm just playing. I hope he does get out, man, or they appeal it or whatever, because once you start going, when you go to jail closer to your 50s, you know what I'm saying, when you're almost 50, or I don't know how old Pras really is, but I'm sure when you're like close to 50 years old, and they give you any type of time, 10 years, 15 years, that's damn near life to me.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's the real world. So, I mean, if he was involved in any stuff, sometimes consequences of the game. But, on a lighter note, I guess on a really lighter note or crazy lighter note, I don't know how familiar you are with this rapper Desiigner.
Yeah. I'm coming from Atlanta. I remember him.
Yeah, I guess at one point he was significantly more popular than I guess he is now. But he's gone in the news for quite an obscure reason, this time after it was reported that he was caught relieving himself in front of a flight of attendants and passengers mid-flight on a plane. Apparently, a jar of Vaseline dropped out while he was, I guess pleasuring himself or something, and
Why not go to the bathroom and do that? You can do that type of shit.
On the flight, and apparently he was repeatedly asked to stop from flight attendants, and he wouldn't. He was eventually moved to the back of the plane, and they said when he stood up, a jar of Vaseline dropped in the aisle. They said he had an explanation for himself, saying that when he was in Japan, he didn't get enough cootie, allegedly, and he was brick hard during his flight. So he, I guess, felt that was
Wow, man, that don't sound right, bro. That shit don't. That sounds like
well,
you can't control yourself.
Post on his social media for the past few months. I've not been okay, and I've been struggling to come to terms with what is going on. While overseas for a concert I performed at, I had to be admitted into a hospital. I was not thinking clearly. They gave me meds, and I had to hop on a plane home. I'm ashamed of my actions that happened on that plane. I landed back to the States, and I'm admitting myself in the facility to help me. I will be canceling all my shows and any obligations until further notice. Mental health is real, guys. Please pray for me. If you're not feeling like yourself, get help. So he went and posted that to his social media, and I guess he's inferring that he was under the influence or something when he got on the plane, and it wasn't intended. What do you think of this story? Crazy industry story.
Come on, bro. Come on, bro. Like, niggas got all this money and got all these shows and all this type of shit. They got all this money and making all these type of shows, and you out there on the plane with your man out. You understand what I'm talking about? Like, it don't make jack off juice and man and petroleum jelly. Like, come on, man. You go to the bathroom and go do that. You can't help yourself. You know what I mean? I would have took me like 2 or 3 over them, a couple of Bloody Marys. I'd drink me up 2 or 3 Bloody Marys and fell asleep and woke up, and the plane would have been over, and I'd have went off. And if you want to touch yourself like T-Boz, then that's what you go do. You know what I'm saying? But you on the plane, bro. People don't want to see that. You know what I mean? And then it's looking like you can't control yourself. Like, you can't control yourself. Like, you can't control yourself. Just out there touching yourself and squeezing yourself, and then when they bust you, you stand up and some petroleum jelly fall out. Come on, man.
I mean, it's definitely one of the I don't say it's one of the strangest stories to hear from somebody in the industry, especially the entertainment industry. We do know that sometimes these artists are allegedly under the the influence and some stuff. Maybe when they're riding a flight, they're under the influence. And but he did say mental health is real. He'll be checking himself into a facility and stuff. And I mean, you can see that a lot of these artists, they're dealing with a lot of stress nowadays, it would seem.
FONZi, I know you're not out there making no excuses for people.
Oh, hell no. I mean, I ain't saying, especially to be doing that I'm playing. I mean, the funny thing is, I remember the closest I ever did or got to anything like that, back in the day, I was taking a flight somewhere, I had a bro with me at the time, she was my female at the time, and that, we was young, we were on the plane, and I don't think the plane had taken off yet. And we're sitting down the plane, and I got that, that little blanket deal on my lap or whatever. That's
what I'm about to say. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to get a blanket or something. That's what I'm about to say. That, like, supposed to get a blanket or something.
And so she, she was fooling around like whole girl sister in Coming to America when she had the basketball game with Hakeem, So, but what was funny was as she was doing, she wasn't doing it like, to like make a nigga like, jack, pop off or anything like that. But, she, whoop-de-woo, she played around, whatever. But the flight attendants and them saw. So I see like one of the flight attendants kind of clocked it. I was saying to their friend, like, oh, look, so they was, talking about it. But the funny thing is, this was like pre-flight. So before they even start handing out, like, the flight deals and all that stuff. So, just before the flight kind of went to come off, one of the flight attendants came over with one of those hot towels that they usually give you after the night flight. Like, right. So she done it like to say, I saw, like in the joking way to like, like laughing, like, but she done it with a straight face as well. Like, she did it so slick, but it was it was cool because she seen the even though I'm not making excuses, even though we was young, it was you don't do that stuff on the public joint and stuff. But that's but what he did was sound like a
Well,
whole
fine. At
a
least you
whole
was on there with a woman. At least you was on the plane with a woman. This nigga's on there by himself on the Mile High Club by himself.
What's I mean, you would think that a celebrity of his status to having a plethora and abundance to pick from. You would think.
No, it's not. It's not even that. It's not even the preference or a plot to pick from. You're only on the plane. I don't care if you was on the plane coming from over there where you at out there in Europe. 10, 15 hours. You can't control yourself. Yeah. At the end of the day, it comes down to just to be about control. You know what I'm saying? Take your ass to sleep or whatever. But now you are everybody looking at you on blast because you're out there touching your man, all on the plane. You know what I'm saying? And then standing up and the petroleum jelly is falling down off the ground, and it's not a real good look. Like looking like a like some kind of like weirdo or freak or pedophile or a weirdo type. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, definitely, man. That's what I'm saying. It definitely doesn't come off well,
You can't control yourself.
I don't know too much about the stuff he do in music now. If he was out there on show business, but as you said, it does come off as a poor sense of control, or lack.
Yeah, control. Get some Janet Jackson in your life. Control. Do something.
Yeah, so guys, let us know what you think about these stories, man, in the comments. Your boy FONZi Neutron represented by theonline.com. Floss Mode, aka Floss Angeles.
Oh yeah. I want to put out there, y'all make sure y'all stay tuned because in October is coming up. We're gonna keep you detailed with it. October is coming up. I'm performing at at the Eazy-E birthday party that Ruthless Propaganda is putting on. So it's gonna be my first time performing at this, and it's gonna go all the way up because I'm gonna show up and show out. So as it gets closer to it, I'll definitely keep y'all in tune with it. But big up to all the greats out there, Eazy-E. Big up to the homeboy FONZi Neutron. Y'all hit that share and subscribe button. You know what I'm talking about? Because we about to come with the real game coming up real soon. It's about to go all the way up.
Yeah, no doubt, man. We definitely want to say rest in peace to Eazy-E as we observe in hip hop 50th year.
And rest in peace to Jerry Springer too, man.
Yeah, I was about 50-year anniversary. So we definitely represent. And you was on the Eazy-E Impact of a Legend album, so you gonna be performing some of those tracks at tribute concert.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be big. It's gonna be big. I'm doing all the songs from Impact of a Legend. It's 8 songs on there. I'm on 5.5 of the songs. So big up to the homeboy Eazy-E and Ruthless Propaganda that's putting the show on. It's coming up in October. And so it's gonna be a lot of press there. It's gonna go all the way up. My homeboy Loster gonna perform with me. I'm gonna try to get in touch with Paperboy because from the song Do the Diddy. I talked to Rhythm D already. Rhythm may come out. You know what I mean? The homeboy Roach Killer. You know what I mean? Stefan, that was on Ruthless Records. You know what I mean? It's gonna be a Ruthless event. So it's gonna be the first time I'm gonna be performing at it. So it's gonna go all the way up. So rest in peace to Eazy-E. Big up to Little Easy, Easy3. And Evie, his daughter, and all Eazy's kids too.